All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Just before we get rolling here, just type a Y in the, I guess it's the question box and go to there. Just make sure that you can see the slide that's up. You should see our beautiful faces on video and hear our voice. All right, looks good, looks good, looks good. Okay. All right, plenty of yeses here. Again, so welcome again, everyone, to this exclusive FFR Trading webinar. I'm John Madison. I'll be your host here along with FFR Trading, and I'm thrilled to have with us what promises to be a high-impact, information-packed session here. We're joined by Wendy Kirkland, one of the most respected names in options trading, as she introduces many of you to her new First Strike Trade Alerts program. Whether you're a seasoned trader or somebody who's looking to generate consistent returns with a simple structured strategy that we'll get into, or Wendy will get into, you're in the right place. Let me direct your attention first to the risk disclosure here. Trading stocks, options, which Wendy focuses on, and any other financial instruments involves substantial risk, is not suitable for every investor. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and the strategies discussed in this presentation, including Wendy's First Strike Trade Alerts, are provided for educational, informational purposes only and do not constitute investment advice. Today we're going to get into who we are here at FFR Trading. I'll go over that briefly for those of you that don't know who we are and what our role is here. I'll introduce Wendy formally, and we'll get into Wendy's First Strike strategy. And then she'll have her presentation that she's got for you, and we'll come back to a Q&A session, and then I'll give you a summary of all the course details and all the great stuff that we've got planned for you. So let me just cover the background on who we are here at FFR Trading, and again, what our role is here. We've been helping individual traders connect with top performing trading strategies for well over a decade now. We vet every system, every trader, and every signal provider before bringing them to you. And our goal is simple: give everyday traders access to professional level results. All right. Here's some of the team that if you do call in that you might encounter. All right, some of the accounts, asset strategists, account strategists, directors. All right, so we've got a great group of folks that stand ready to help you guys through your trading journey here. All right, without further ado, let me bring in Wendy. Wendy, I see we've got you up.
Hello.
Wendy's a self-made options trader. Began her journey looking for a way to supplement her income. What started as a personal mission evolved into a decades-long career helping others. She helps them navigate the markets with confidence. She's known for breaking down complex trading systems into simple, repeatable strategies, and her track record speaks for itself. So Wendy, good afternoon.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here. Excited.
Now, it looks like you are at the home base. You are located in North Carolina.
I am. Rather than be in the office, I thought, okay, I'm going to be at home and where I can just relax and enjoy and have a good time with you all.
Yeah, I wish we could get a good look of the backyard, because I know you got a great view back there.
Yeah, the mountain view is something else. It truly is. I can, from where I am way out in the country, I can see all the way into Asheville, which is, I don't know, 45 miles away or something. It's pretty special.
All right, so are you ready, Wendy, to tell folks a little bit about some of your programs here?
I'm ready to get started.
We're going to focus on the First Strike. That's one of the newer programs, but we'll also talk about the P3, and we'll take a look at that, and I'll show you why we're looking at both here. But First Strike, this is a new program that you're dealing with calls and puts, so it plays both directions, long puts and long calls. But this focuses on options on ETFs, specifically the triple Qs, the SPY, or so the Qs is the NASDAQ ETF, the SPY, which is the S&P 500 ETF, and the IWM, which is the Russell 2000, I believe, ETF. So this focuses on those three specific ETFs. You're utilizing your P3 strategy, which I know you're going to talk about because this is an amazing strategy that is totally learnable. So Wendy does a great job, and again, that's one of the things she's known for, is helping people learn a strategy, not just accept the signals that come through the email or text, but she actually shows you how to do this yourself. But this will focus on multiple chart or multiple time frames, from a 10-minute chart to 30, 60-minute charts, the daily and the weekly charts. And again, focuses on the P3 and the P3.5, which is your short pattern. Wendy's going to talk about that, and average about 6 to 8 trades per month. So Wendy, maybe just talk a little bit about this new First Strike program and what excites you about this program.
Well, one of the things that I really like, and the reason we kind of developed it, is the fact that by trading the Qs, SPY, and IWM is really focusing on the groups of stocks that cover the majority of the market. And so when you're trading the Qs, say as an example, that is a lot of technology stocks and that kind of thing. And then S&P is more related to more general stocks, GE and just like that. And then the IWM is a ETF that has more equities in it. They are newer companies. And so it is totally different than the others that maybe have 50 companies in them and so on. So it's a nice range, and just covers a lot of equities and that are having positive moves.
All right, fantastic. Now, to kind of compare and contrast, you also have the P3 program, which is a newer program as well, that also buys puts and calls. So it does play both directions. So you can make money in both directions, and covers basically the same multiple chart timeframes, but this focuses on the top 100 liquid stocks. So we're talking Facebook, Tesla, Apple, Google, right? Big name companies. So this is focus on individual stocks rather than the whole index. And again, averages 6 to 8 trades a month, and it looks for short-term moves that average a few days, could be a month. And so talk a little bit about the differences in how that maybe is different than the First Strike when you're trading the individual stocks.
Well, overall, as far as calls and puts and the patterns, they're trading the same patterns. And but with the Qs and SPY and IWM, they are trading the ETF, which is a combination of a number of stocks. It's like a group, where the P3 is trading individual stocks. So you're just focusing on what Tesla is doing, or Facebook, or Apple, or whatever, and you're zeroing in. Maybe they introduce a new product, or are running some kind of special or something, and report their earnings, and that boosts up where they are going to have a solid move, whether it's up or down, and you're zeroing in on the individual stock rather than a group of stocks.
Excellent. So so there's a couple of options for those that like the ETFs. If you prefer, individual stocks, you can look at the P3. Like I said, very similar. Obviously, they're using that same P3 strategy there. I know you're going to talk about the P3, so that'll answer a lot of questions. So we got some questions coming in already. But Wendy's going to give her presentation here. She'll talk about the P3 and explain that, and some more about the different programs. So those of you that have audio issues, we tested the audio, everything was working, so you might need to log out and log back in, so I'll let them know. But Wendy, if you're ready.
Okie doke, let me do that.
You should get a pop-up there in just a second.
Yep, there it is. Okay, and if I click slideshow, there we go. From the beginning, there we are.
Perfect.
All right, so it's good, huh?
Looks
That
good.
we're good. All right, awesome. Well, we're going to discuss first strike, which has already been mentioned. It's the P3 patterns on the Qs, SPY, and IWM. And the P3 pattern is a bullish and bearish pattern. And the way that the chart is set up is that it has the ADX on the chart twice. And there is a combination. It's the upper ADX and the PPO that create the bearish patterns, and the PPO and the lower ADX that create the bullish patterns. And as far as the ADX and the way that it's set up, it is exactly the same. And so I'm going to discuss with you kind of how this all got started, because it seems very weird to have the same indicator twice on a chart. And then it's not that you're just reading one indicator and looking and saying, oh, the P3 or the PPO crossed up. What we're looking at is a combination of the two patterns and the two indicators and the patterns that they form. And that is what I'm going to cover today. So the P3 and P3.5 patterns create what I call a life cycle. And these patterns appear on every equity and every ETF. The patterns appear on every time frame chart. So you're not just having to trade a 60-minute chart or a 30-minute chart. The patterns play out the same on every single time frame chart. The bullish adult patterns conceive the bearish patterns, and the bearish adult patterns conceive the bullish patterns. And this is so, again, on every equity and every time frame chart. If ever a pattern fails before it becomes an adult to conceive the opposite pattern, then the previous pattern goes back into being the earlier adult 100% of the time. There's not much you can talk about that happens in the market that you can say, oh, this happens 100% of the time. That is one of the things that sets this apart and makes it very successful. So again, we are starting from the very, very beginning, and this is the P3 pattern right here. This is how it started for me. That I had set up the PPO as an indicator, and I had set up the ADX. And there just happened to be this one time that I was looking at the chart and saw that the PPO had crossed down and was getting ready to cross up. And because I had the ADX kind of underneath it, it was like, oh my gosh, look at in that, Keith, that the lines kind of pinched together. And then now, as this is showing that the PPO is getting ready to cross up. And so I kind of started looking for that and realizing that when this happened, that price starts to rise. It goes through this set of circumstances, and in the end, I decided that it was like a life cycle. And so this is the Qs, and so I marked a couple of these. And again, I just have the one ADX on this because this is kind of the way that it had started. And so I'm kind of going back here a little bit, but you can see how these lines pinch together. And then when this crossed up, the lines kind of pushed away from each other. And you can see the bullish green line of the ADX crossed up for, I don't know, maybe a day, and then it crossed back down again. And so this pattern ended up failing. And then prices dropped and it formed a new P3. And then this one, as it played out, this one went through the full life cycle where there you have the green line crossed up, it stayed up, and the strength line rose. So in a sense, these lines run parallel. This is the strength stage of the P3. Well, it didn't take me very, very long to realize, and we'll see this on one of the next charts, that maybe I'd been trading, I don't know, a few months or a year, and I goofed and I cut off my charts and put them back together again, and I goofed by putting the ADX on top of the PPO instead of underneath this. And all of a sudden the charts look totally different. And so that is what kind of got this all started and initiated in realizing that there was two different set patterns. Again, this is a P3, the little pinch here that formed. This got started and never played out. The green line was never up where this ADX line rose to support it, the support line. If we look back here at this one, you can see it rose here, went flat a little bit, rose again, went flat. This little pattern that tried to happen here went back into the strength stage. So overall, this pattern played out for a good while because this P3.5 pattern failed. And this is everything that the book and the strategy discusses and explains how it all works. You will get so good at it that the trades will just jump out at you. So this is what happened when I accidentally put the ADX above the PPO instead of underneath. All of a sudden, I was seeing that when we had a P3 and this ADX rose, then that created a P3.5 pattern. In this case, it didn't play out. You can see the green line never crossed down, or the red line here never got above. It did right here, but this never really rose. And then when this pattern failed, this went back into another P3 strength stage, because that's what happens 100% of the time. Same thing happened here. You had another P3.5 pattern start. This time the red line crossed up for a little bit and it failed. The green line took over. And so when this PPO crossed up, the PPO went back into the strength stage because that pattern failed without becoming an adult. Now this one, PPO crossed down, red line went up, looks much stronger. And then you had several areas here where the ADX rose while the PPO was down. That brought the price of the stock down. So this is the strength stage, or the adult stage. Now look at this one. PPO crossed down, red line on top, rising ADX. That is amazing. That is the strength stage of the P3.5. It is just like this, same exact thing, but this one was much stronger. This pattern then, this adult stage of the pattern, conceives a new P3 pattern. And so that's what we're gonna look at here. Is this now is the way I have my chart set up. I have two ADXs so that the patterns really jump out at me. That you have the ADX on the top, the ADX on the bottom. This combination of PPO and ADX is the P3 pattern, or the bullish pattern. and the PPO and the upper ADX is the bearish pattern. And so in this case, you had the PPO crossing down, red line on top, rising ADX, where the lines are pushing away from each other, and that creates now a new P3 that is just getting started. PPO has just crossed up. This is pushing away. Before long, if this plays out all the way that it should, this black line of the ADX will turn up, and the green line here will be on top, and it will go into an adult stage. And in a sense, what that will look like is like right here, where you have the PPO up, green line on top, rising ADX. This tried to do another little P3.5, and then it rose back into another P3 because this pattern failed. And that is what I was saying. Anytime a pattern fails, the previous pattern 100% of the time goes back into the adult stage to reconceive the previous pattern. So here the P3 was playing out, rising, green line on top. This is the adult, conceived this pattern. This one got started when the PPO crossed down, but you can see the red line here never really got up and got going. And so when the PPO crossed up, this went back into an adult stage. And it does that again 100% of the time. If ever a pattern fails, like this one did that got started, without going through its full life cycle, like we were talking about over here, then the previous pattern goes back into the adult stage. All right, so this is IWM. And again, we have the two ADXs on here. And again, I just marked the opening or formation areas where here this P3 adult conceived a P3.5 pattern. Here it was born, but you can glance up here and say, oh, the minus DI was not very strong. There was lots of swings. And then when it crossed up here and failed, this went back into the adult stage. Here it did kind of the same thing. Crossed down, didn't have any strength. This one is going to go back into the adult stage. It does that 100% of the time. This one got started. Now this time it did go through all its stages. The PPO stayed down, the red line crossed over, and this rose. This adult conceived the opposite pattern. It actually conceived it right here, but then you can see the PPO never really crossed, and this dropped a little bit more when this rose, and so it conceived a new P3 pattern. Got going, got going. There isn't any real areas here. No, not there. I was going to say there isn't any real area where the green line is on top and that the ADX rose. And so when the PPO crossed down here again, this went back into a strength stage. And it does that again 100% of the time. If a pattern fails, look how flat this is. It, would have a day up, a day down, a day up. And so this now has formed a new P3 pattern. And so the books and the chart images have very, very clear explanations. They cover the full life cycle of the P3 and P3.5 life stages that we've kind of showed where they were conceived. And then when the PPO crosses in one direction or the other, that is the birth. Then they are an infant and a toddler. The toddler is kind of when the ADX line, the DI lines of the ADX line cross over, green line over red or red line over green. Then the teenage stages, that I talk about as kind of like where an equity acts out. If you think about teenagers, they don't always make really all the time smart decisions. And so on the charts, that's the way that it looked. You might have the PPO cross up and be heading up, and then all of a sudden it pulls back a little bit, but not enough where it crosses down. It just dips down a little bit, and then it gets its strength back again and continues up. Those are the teenage stages, and they can happen. Sometimes they don't happen at all, but they can happen 2-3 times. And sometimes they actually, one of them might kind of happen in the adult stage, and you just have to figure it's one of us as an adult that we screwed up a little bit, you know, and so it dips down and then continues on. And when the adult stage ends, it has conceived the opposite patterns. That is the whole point of this whole process, is the fact that when it goes into the adult stage, no matter how long it lasts, it is going to conceive the opposite pattern. And when that new pattern is born, then this adult stage ends. So we discussed that we would talk about the P3 service, and it trades high volume equities, and it trades weekly, daily, 60 and 30-minute charts. It trades all the high volumes ones. Some of them would come to mind to you, like Apple and Google and Nvidia and so on. The high volume charts is what the P3 focuses on. And so this is Boeing, and I'm just looking at the latest P3 pattern here. I'm sure your eyes are picking them out already. Here the PPO crossed up. That means this pattern is now born. And this pattern, this adult pattern right here that conceived it, now has ended. The ADX heading down is like stage 3. The green line over red is stage 4, and this is just getting ready, or has just started, the adult stage, where this line is heading up, the strength line is heading up. Here's a great example that is playing out just like this one is. Here you had the P3 pinch, the squeeze. Of course, you had the ADX strength stage right here that conceived it. That is this drop. Conceived this new P3 when the PPO crossed up. That is stage 2. ADX heading down is stage 3. Green line over red is stage 4. And look at this nice strength stage where this line headed up. That is stage 6. There is a little place right here. That would be an example of the teenager stage. See that little place right there where it pulled back, but it didn't actually cross down? If you look up here, you say, oh, right there. Couple chart or candlesticks pulled back, and then it continued on into the strength stage. So it was a little rest period, but not enough to end the pattern, and then it continued on heading up. That is what the whole program teaches, and teaches you to be able to pick out and read the patterns and know what is likely to happen next. Or if it doesn't happen next and the pattern fails, then you know 100% what's going to happen. So this is Tesla. I was looking at this one because it had a really, really long P3.5 pattern. So this is the strength stage right here that formed or conceived the new P3.5 pattern. It was born right here when the PPO crossed down. And then it had a little bit of trouble getting started. It took a while before the red line crossed up with any real strength. But you can see the PPO was down this whole time. And then ultimately the ADX started rising as it was dropping down. And this adult stage of the P3.5 then has conceived a new P3 pattern that has just now been born. PPO is crossed up. You can see the green line has crossed the red, hasn't yet turned up and tried to get above the ADX line. It is just kind of has popped up, but is wimpy a little bit. It doesn't have a lot of strength at the moment, or not yet. So again, this is Home Depot, and what I did was to put a 30-minute chart, and the whole point of this was to show you that the patterns are the same. It does not matter what time frame chart you're looking at. This could be a 3-minute chart, a 1-minute chart, a 10-minute chart, a weekly chart. It doesn't matter. The patterns go through the same stages. So here you have a new P3 pattern. You can glance up and see the strength stage that formed it. PPO crossed up. Didn't take very long for the green line to cross up and over. And then it went into the strength stage with the ADX rising. And that happened and remained for about a day and a half. This adult stage conceived the P3.5 pattern. And then here it was born, which means then this pattern ended. And that is the way that all of the charts go, in a sense, is they go from one pattern to the other to the other. And when you learn the life cycle of the patterns, you then are able to anticipate what is going to happen next. And if for any reason it doesn't happen next, and I'm glancing back here and saying, here is a P3 that got started and then it failed. You knew then 100% that this ADX line was going to rise again and price was going to drop. Here, this one got started. PPO crossed up, P3 is starting, and it's like, oh Lord, here it crossed down again. Going to go into the adult stage again 100% of the time. So this is what I teach. The books have lots and lots of explanations in them, and again, this is a 30-minute chart. We've been looking at daily charts. The patterns play out the same no matter what time frame chart you're looking at. So hopefully you found this interesting and kind of begin to grasp the P3 and P3.5 patterns and how they can be used on the ETFs like the Qs and SPY or on regular stocks. So are we ready for questions?
Yeah, excellent. Great job, Wendy. Yes, so we do have questions, and guys, if you have additional questions, go ahead and start posting them, and we'll get Wendy to answer those. All right, Nick wants to know, at what stage do you buy options, and at what stage do you liquidate options?
Well, there's a couple answers to that. During strong markets, when there isn't a lot of volatility during strong markets, I usually will enter at stage 4 when the DI line crosses up and that you can see that the direction has really started to move. If the market is more volatile and that there are lots of swings and so on, then I often will enter at the beginning of stage 6, because That's the adult stage, because I want to know that it really is getting down to business and it isn't one of the new patterns and it's likely to fail. So I really look at the overall market and look and say, you know, what is happening? Is it really volatile like we have had lately, where you have swings throughout the day? That is not a great time to get into a pattern that is likely going to fail. And so I wait then for the strike stages to come in.
All right, fantastic. So, uh, I guess it's Lisa wants to know, if I subscribe, will I get access to the indicators? So talk about, that's one of the unique parts of your program is these are out of the box indicators. Now you have your tweaks to them, but talk about the indicators that you're using and how will people access those?
Okay, well, they, in a sense, can be set up. I use stock charts, and there is a little subscription fee to stock charts. It's $19 a month, I think. And your charts then would look exactly like these. That said, most brokers offer charts. And so whatever your brokerage is, you could look and likely you would be able to set up the ADX and the PPO and another ADX. If you don't have, if they don't have PPO, you can use the MACD, MACD indicator. They're almost identical. It's a good alternative, but I just like the way the PPO is figured out. So.
And guys, I know since I've gone through a lot of Wendy's educational material, which we'll get into in a bit here, she will give you the settings in the material for those indicators. Because they're not
Yes.
just out of the, most, like you said, most of the platforms will have these indicators, but the out of the box settings will need to be tweaked. Okay, let's see. Raphael wants to know, how do you know when to exit, or do you have a target?
And I realize now that that was part of the question that was asked a minute ago. I usually follow the patterns, and so that when I see the strength stage is starting to weaken, I will take profit. Beyond that, if I get into a trade and very quickly I make 30 or 40%, I maybe will just decide that I'm going to just take this. Thank you very much. And I just move on rather than thinking that I need to squeak out every single penny that is there. But much depends on what is happening with the overall market. We are in such a volatile time right now. It's pretty smart to, if you've earned a profit, to go ahead and take it, because you don't know if the next day there's going to be some news and the market's going to head in the opposite direction.
All right, and let's see, Jeremy wants to know, if I'm just starting out, is this for me? So talk about it, because this is a big strength of your program, Wendy, is especially for those just starting out, all the educational material. So talk about that, because that's a great question.
Right, and I totally agree that when I started, I was an artist and I did not have a financial background. It was all new to me. And I think that's part of why the way things are set up with these indicators and what I see and what I am teaching about the life cycles of the pattern is so different from what is out there in the market. But I think what I bring is because that I didn't have the financial background, that I see patterns and I see the flow of the patterns and so on, just as if it was art. And that is what I am able to teach. And the books are written so that it is all in a sense, understandable. It's not, I don't intentionally write to sound so technical and so on, so that you'll just have to stay dependent on me forever and ever. My goal is to teach people to trade. And that is what I hope that I can do, and get you so that you see these patterns, and that you can pick it up and know exactly when to get in and when to get out.
Excellent. And Thomas wants to know, how do you choose the right option?
Well, one of the main things is you want to be not too far out of the money. It's okay to be a little bit out of the money, less than what the current price is. But you want to really look for there to be a good bit of volume. You don't want to be the only one in a trade, because it's too easy for the market makers then to manipulate and do so that it just doesn't work out. That you want to be in a strike that has lots of other traders in it, so that you're not the only trader. And of course, you want to be in a trade that is moving in the right direction. You know, if you think market's going to go up, you're going to get a call. You can look for a strike that is on a call that is a little bit below the current price, that has lots of volume.
All right, excellent. Guys, I hope you find these answers helpful. Some great questions and great responses by Wendy. Jed wants to know, how do you get the book? So, well, that kind of leads right into what we're going to cover next. I think it's Jed. So I'm going to go ahead and take back control here. And let's show everybody what comes with these, the programs that we're talking about here. And you should be able to see my slide again up here. So let's go through. Wendy just talked to you guys about, you know, her goal is not to keep you dependent, but eventually for you to be independent and be able to do this for yourself, which I think is quite unique. So let's get into everything that comes with these services. First of all, you'll get a welcome email from the Kirkland team with all the details and downloads. So the book that you were asking about, Jed, will be downloadable in a downloadable format, correct, Wendy?
Yes.
And so the videos, all the videos, the downloads will all be in that welcome email. So you'll have everything kind of in one email, easy to access, easy to locate everything. Of course, you will get direct alerts to your email or cell phone. And so Wendy's helping you out because she's picking the trades for you, you know, as you're starting, and you're getting it alerted to those, not only just to the entry, but what option to buy, what strike, at what price. Usually you're going to set a limit, and you recommend folks, if they miss a trade, that they don't chase, correct?
Right. That's exactly right. Because you don't know if it's a trade that then changes direction or whatever. You'll be getting in when maybe it's time to get out. So you just don't do that trade.
All right, excellent. Plus, you'll get the daily market and position recap, so you'll always know what positions you're in, what positions have been closed that day. All that is going to be included in the recaps. You do get access to Wendy's team, and you've got a great team, Wendy. You know, some of that is made up of family, or is it all family now?
Mostly family, not
Family.
totally, but mostly.
So that's great. And then any educated questions that you guys have about the markets, about the methodology, or their team, Wendy's team is there to support you. Again, the digital books and videos regarding the education on the methodology, the entry rules, the exit rules, right? There's nothing left to the imagination. You'll have it all there. A newsletter that is emailed weekly from Wendy's team, and your digital trade planning manual. So just kind of walk them through when they're logging into the website. Talk about this digital trade planning manual.
I'm assuming that that is something that that they are sent, and it just really covers the P3 patterns and the stages of the pattern, kind of what we're talking about here. But it's a visual where they can look at that and see the patterns and know they're going to buy a call when price is going up, a put when it's going down, buy a couple strikes out, get lots of volume, and so on.
All right, and Kim asked, I'll just pick up this last question. Kim asked, what size account do you need? What account size, and I forgot to cover that earlier in the academics, but what account size do you suggest that people start with?
It kind of depends on which of the two services. That I would say between 5,000 and 10,000. That if you're in the P3 pattern, that sometimes if you're talking about buying options on Apple or Google or whatever, they're a little more expensive than what the IWM options would be, so that you could manage 5,000, but if you're doing the P3 program, is probably closer to 10,000 would be good.
All right, fantastic. And Daniel, if you would, Daniel, just give us a call and talk to your strategist, and they can help you out with that situation. All right, another important aspect is the Lunch with Wendy. This session is held on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and they're recorded so that people can watch at their convenience. So tell us a little bit about the Lunch with Wendy sessions. What do you typically cover? And is it you there or the support, the staff?
No, it's me. It's me. Yeah. I'm there yakking for a half hour, 45 minutes every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and they're recorded. And in a sense, it's kind of like what we've been talking about today, where I'm going through and looking at charts and I'm marking the patterns and I'm saying, you know, look what happened here and look what happened there because the market's doing this and that and so on. It's all teaching. It's all educational.
All right, and then access to third-party registered brokers. Again, this is an option for those that don't have time to, execute these trades for yourself. You can have what we call broker-assisted trading. These are third-party brokers that have worked with Wendy in her programs for many years, and they are very efficient at executing these trades in your own account. All right, so that's an option. And of course, you get access to us here at FFR Trading. And again, our goal is to build you a well-rounded portfolio of strategies that are non-correlated, maybe different markets, different traders, so that we can kind of help you smooth out that equity curve over time. All right, so what we're looking for, what Wendy's looking for, are members that meet the following criteria. First, we want to know your story, and Wendy wants to know your story. How did you find Wendy? How did you find FFR? How did that all come together? And then you provide your monthly brokerage statements. Obviously, we want to keep track, so you'll agree to a quarterly meeting where we'll sit down and go over your brokerage statements to make sure you're on track, reaching your goals. And if all goes well, provide us with a testimonial, right? A testimonial of your success. And then, of course, refer, as we get plenty of referrals from those that are having success, referring their friends and family and so on. So that's what we're looking for. Wendy, I don't know if you saw this one, but this is from a recent, from one of your students. And I'm just going to read this quickly because I thought it was great. It's from Walter out in your neck of the woods there. He said, just a note to let you know how excited I am to be trading with Wendy Kirkland. For many years, I've traded stocks, options, and commodities, but have never gone much beyond breaking even. Now trading with signals from Wendy for the last 8 months, I've grown my account from 15,000 to 40,000. That's an increase of 175% in just 8 months. Even more exciting, Wendy furnishes all I need to find my trades on my own. I love the thrill of placing a trade and seeing a great win in a short period of time. All I can say is that our system works and is so simple anyone can make money with it. I highly recommend it. Thank you, FFR Trading, for getting me started with the programs. My future is so much brighter now that I am trading with Wendy. I thought that was a great,
That is awesome. That
because
like makes my heart pound of being excited that
and
that's the whole point for me.
it just encompasses, obviously working with your trade alerts, but also the ability that he's now got to do this on his own, which is exactly what you
Yeah.
you were talking about, that you're looking at or looking for people. Dr. D, another great client of us here at FFR, and your student Wendy, with a great review there as well. All right, so this is what we've got for you. Those of you that are still here, okay, and there's a lot of you, a lot of you today. This is the offer that we have. This is for the first 10 members only. If you subscribe today to one of Wendy's programs, all right, so we looked at the P3 program and the First Strike Trade Alerts, you'll receive an additional year of trading for free. And Wendy is also throwing in a $1,500 credit towards the programs. And she's throwing in also 1 year of her Merit DIA or Diamond system. So if you remember, the First Strike Trade Alerts covers the Qs, the SPY, and the IWM. This fills in the gap there with that program, because you'll also get the DIA, the ETF for the Dow, 1 year of that for free. All right, so that's the offer that we have. But what we need you to do is give us a call, because we don't just throw anybody in, these programs. We have to make sure that it is appropriate for you and it meets your goals. So we just need to speak with you, and we'll show you all the specifics on the program, performance, all those numbers, everything you need to know to make an informed decision and make sure it is a good fit for you. And that's calling the 800-883-0524 number. If you're outside the US, you can use the 737-292-4425, and always you can use the support at ffrtrading.com, and a strategist will get back to you as soon as possible. So give us a call at one of these numbers. Remember, that's good for the first 10 callers, right? The first 10 people who sign up to one of those programs. Again, you get an additional year of service, a $1,500 credit towards the programs, and 1 year free of your Merit DIA system. And also, those that have attended and stayed to the end, remember, you can give us a call and we'll provide you with the educational package that Wendy has put together for you that is free. So whatever your intent, give us a call, right? And we can get you your free package, or speak to a strategist, and we'll give you the discounts here for the first 10 callers only. I'll put up the numbers here again. 800-883-0524, 737-292-4425 outside the US, and support at ffrtrading.com. So Wendy, any parting thoughts? Maybe we didn't talk, we got a little bit of time here. We didn't talk about the current, what's going on in the markets currently, because obviously we've seen a lot of volatility. We say that a lot, but this has really been a lot of volatility. What are you seeing in the markets, and how are you handling it?
Well, one of the, you're right. There is a lot of volatility. It's not been just a swing in one direction one day and the opposite direction the next day. There has been days that are positive, and by the time they end, they are negative. And that has made it a bit of a challenge. And there are times that then you are able to shift down to the lower time frame charts, because that allows you to capture what the move that is happening at the moment. That when the market is stronger, of course, you can look at daily charts, and you might be in a trade for a week or 2 weeks, or sometimes up to a month. When you have a lot of volatility, you need to step down and trade the patterns that are unfolding much more quickly. And that said, I'll continue here for a minute. What you learn can be applied to any time frame chart. So it's not like, oh, this only works here. It applies to every time frame chart.
And absolutely, that's obviously very, very important, like you said, in the kind of current environment we're in. it allows you the flexibility to use the same strategy, any market, really any time frame.
Right.
All right, so last chance here, guys. The first 10 members that call and subscribe, you'll get a free additional year of trading. You'll get a $1,500 credit towards your purchase and 1 year free of Wendy's Merit DIA, the Diamond system, the Dow ETF system. Also call in just to get your free package as well. That's a package that Wendy put together, some educational material for you as kind of a parting gift for those that have stayed till the end. So we appreciate you. Any last thoughts, Wendy, before we wrap up here?
I just want to share and just say I am so happy to be here and to talk about the trades and the patterns with everyone who was attending. For me, it was life-changing. I mean, really life-changing. We're going back 20 years ago, but truly amazing. And that is why I have worked so hard to teach other people, as I hear from them routinely that it has changed lives, and that is my goal.
All
So
right,
I
fantastic.
enjoyed it very much. It was fun.
Yeah, I had a great time, Wendy, as always, and it's been a while since we did this with just the two of us.
Yeah.
I was looking back; it's been a little over a year since it's just been you and I. Now, you were on the webinar last month when we had our roundtable, but as far as just going over your programs, it's been a while. So it was good to have you back here. Brad said he called, didn't get an answer. Obviously, we've got a lot of people calling in now, so Brad, go ahead and call again. You want to be one of the first 10. You can use the 800-883-0524, and they should be standing ready to take your call there and help you out. Again, we do need to speak to you, right, so that we can make sure it's appropriate for you. We don't put anybody in something that's not appropriate and doesn't match your goals. So the other number is the 737-292-4425 if you're outside the US, and we do have some callers outside the US here as well. So again, thank you so much, Wendy. A pleasure. And everybody here, thanks for attending. We love doing these for you. We get great responses, and we work with some great traders. So you're quite welcome. Thank you, Brad. All right, thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your trading week. We'll see you back in the next webinar.
It was a joy.
Take care
care
now.